This is getting all a bit too real now, but as of recording this video, it is officially 29 days and 12 hours-ish, roughly, give or take, until PAX Australia. Oh, and as you can see, I got my shirt that I ordered when I checked out with my badges. That's one of the badges that I got given. I am super excited, but I figured it'd be a good time to talk about PAX Australia as a whole, offer my tips and guidelines, not just for PAX Australia in general, but also for when you go down to Melbourne itself. As a lot of people may already know, but if you don't and you're new and this is the first time you're going to PAX, PAX is usually held on the Melbourne International Games Week. It's a week-long festival in Melbourne. PAX is a part of it technically. That pretty much rounds it out on the weekend. But usually there is a celebration of gaming throughout the week. Usually there's events on, such as Big Games Night Out on the Thursday night. I will be also attending that as well. Big Games Night Out is so fun. It's a free event that you get to go to in Federation Square. So I highly recommend that you go and check it out. It is so much fun. They have cosplay catwalk, lip sync battle. Last time they had performances. I forget what the performer's name was. But I do know the year before that they had the very infamous Cult of the Lamb rave, which they called indoctrination or the sacrifice. But yeah, no. So there's always something to do during International Games Week, and then obviously the round out, which is PAX Australia. So with that being said, I thought I would give my tips for any newcomers that are going to PAX. Like, this is your first time going. I've been going to PAX now for... I've been to at least 7 or 8 of them. I've only missed like a few of them. So this is just my sort of tips for any newcomers. If you need advice and that sort of stuff on what to do, because PAX is not like your regular like Supernovas, Oz Comic Cons, or Smash even. PAX is on a whole another level. So PAX Australia is the Penny Arcade Expo, is a gaming convention, but there is so much to do during the week. So for those that don't know, basically where it's located in the MCEC, it takes up pretty much the whole entire hall space. So there is a lot to do. There's like always a ton of stuff to do. So keep that in mind before anyone is like, oh, but what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. Trust me, there is so much to do. But having said that, I thought I'd give you some of my tips, my tricks, all that sort of stuff to prepare yourself for the 3-day convention that is PAX. So tip number 1 is always make sure that you plan your schedule. You plan ahead. You can't do everything during, the 3 days. You will end up missing out on stuff, unfortunately. That is the reality of it. I know this. A lot of my friends know this. We've been doing this for God knows how long, and you cannot actually get everything done. So for those that are wondering, plan your schedule on what you want to do, on what you want to revolve around, because that would be the most beneficial to you as you are not stressing. So like the biggest ones for me is I'm going to go visit the Crown Championship of Cosplay on Sunday. That's my big one that I love to film. I love covering that. It's so eye-opening to see all the amazing cosplayers along with the cosplay catwalk that they did. It's incredible. And yeah, like just planning out the events that you want to do. So like last year, for instance, I not only did the cosplay championships, I also covered the Cult of the Lamb wedding. Yes, before anyone asked, there was a Cult of the Lamb wedding. It was amazing. I got to see the 11 o'clock one because there were 2 weddings on the weekend. And then in general, I got to do a couple of the meetups. I got to, have a look at all the booths, all the stores, and, going around checking out some of the indie games whenever I could. There's just so much to do. But, I always make sure that I look at who is attending or what companies are going to be there, and I want to go and I want to try and get, in there as soon as possible. So that's my biggest tip for tip number 1 is make sure that you plan your schedule to yourself, not to, you want to rush things. You take your time, be patient, work with what you're given. That's my biggest thing for planning your schedule. So that's tip number 1. But we're going to do tip number 2. By the way, this is not necessarily a whole list of things. These are just my big ones that I always recommend or tell people, because it's going to vary between person to person how you handle stuff. For me, this is how I go about with my planning and that. So keep in mind, my stuff is a little bit different. It's probably going to be different for a cosplayer, say for instance, but it's the whole gist of it. It's the core rules, if that makes sense. So let's do tip number 2, which is always make sure that you have water, you hydrate, you have food or snacks, and you take necessary breaks. I cannot stress this enough, that you guys have to take breaks. So for those that don't know, it is a draining weekend. There are times that I'm drained, however, I still go and party and do all the stupid things, but make sure that you eat, you have food, you have some drinks, you have hydration. You always bring stuff in case you need it. There are also vending machines around. There is the PAX Tavern, and then if you walk across to the Crown Casino, if you go in a little bit, there's a food court in there that you can go and grab some McDonald's or something, or KFC or whatever. There's something nearby. So that's just the thing that I always stress to people is make sure that you hydrate and you keep your food levels up, your hunger down, essentially, because you don't want to be hungry by the end of the day, because trust me, I've done that and I've hated it. I've regretted it. So that's just another core thing that I always remember to do. Always have water, always have some form of hydration, always have some food on me whatsoever. Make sure that you have breakfast. If you are staying at a hotel or something, go get breakfast, because if you don't get lunch, at least you've got something in your system so that you can go. Make sure that you stay hydrated. Make sure that you stay focused with your eating and all that, because if you don't, it will come back and bite you. And trust me, it has done that to me so many times. So that's tip number 2. Now, tip number 3. Now, this is just because I'm a content creator. I have a lot of gear with me, so I tend to make sure that I have stuff charged, ready to go, sort of thing. So this is at least my tip if you're a content creator, but this also applies to cosplayers and that in general, because I know a lot of cosplayers like to do TikToks, take selfies, that sort of thing. Post Instagram stories. I know I do. But always carry a power bank with you. Now, hold up one moment. Okay. So this is my power bank. So it is a hefty chonker. I believe it's 30,000 milliamps or something. Sorry, 24,000 milliamps. Sorry. This is the Anker Power Core. Basically, this can charge a laptop. That's what I always needed it for, in case I brought my iPad with me. So let me just pop that down. So that's what I always bring. I bring a power bank with me, regardless if I'm going to the con. And even if I don't use all my battery, it's great for me to charge my camera batteries, that sort of thing, in the event that I need it. But most of the time, I don't have to worry about charging like that. So I'm usually fine, but I still have it just in case, because I don't want anything to happen to my phone. Like, if I don't want my phone to die essentially while I'm there at a convention, especially if I'm with people and I need to be in contact with someone, or I need to be in contact with, like, I don't know, someone that I've been going back and forth with on emails or something, that sort of thing. But it is always good to have that with you. Like, it has saved my butt so many times. So always carry a giant hecking power bank. Trust me, it will be great. All right, so that is tip number 3. The other main one is tip number 4/5. I combine these two because technically they to me at least, they fall under the one thing, but we separate them. So tip number 4 for the first start is always make sure that you plan to travel with friends or with someone, or just making sure that you're not alone for the majority of the time, especially if you're this is your first time going. My recommendation is always go with a friend if you can arrange that. The reason I say that is, look, there have been times where it's been a bit, how you going? But because there's like 20-something thousand people, it shouldn't be too bad. But having said that, I always make sure that I have friends that I know that I can contact in case of if anything has happened. They're vice versa for me as well. So if there's something is happening to them and they call me, I'm ready for that sort of thing. But I always like to make sure that I have that friend, or like I have someone so that I know that I can go to the convention, without any issues, sort of thing. The same can be also said for the 5th one, the 5th tip, but that's also because it sort of ties into tip number 4, at least in my opinion. But biggest one that I can say is, if something is going on, if you need any sort of assistance or whatsoever, don't hesitate to call a PAX enforcer. So this one is a big one for me because PAX enforcers are the most lovely people, but they are super good at their job and what they do. That's why I appreciate how PAX is always run as a convention. It's always run as a convention so well where I don't need to be worried about the PAX enforcers. Like, I go to freaking Supernova sometimes and I worry about the damn security guards that are there. PAX enforcers, however, like the volunteers that help run the show, are incredible people. Like, they are absolutely incredible. But if anything does happen, make sure that you reach out to PAX Enforcer. They wear, basically they wear bright yellow shirts that say Enforcer on them. Usually it sometimes says their username. I don't know if they still do that anymore. But there are enforcers around to help you. They also help if you need to go get your prop checked or checked in or anything. They also offer the badge pickup if you missed it, badge cutoff. But they are here to help. They are so helpful. That's my big thing. So, but look, those are just my 5 main tips. Like that I yes, it may sound like I'm repeating myself from like last year's video if I ever did a video like that, or the year before. However, for new people who go to this convention, I want to make sure that people know what they're getting themselves into, because it is such a massive convention. It is so huge and just all awesome all at the same time. So, but look, PAX is in 30 days, 29 days and 12 hours if you technically count it that. But PAX is also almost upon us. So I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for tuning in to this video. If you haven't bought your badge yet, I suggest go doing it, because the tickets are going to sell out and it's just going to be insane. You're going to hate yourself that you missed it. But I've always made sure to buy my tickets like straight up. Like, I don't make them, like, I don't miss them. But thank you all so much for tuning in. I shall see you all in my next video, which will be possibly my Oz Comic Con vlog. I don't know if I'm going to do 1 day or 2 days. I'm not too sure yet. But yes, that'll be my next video. So, bye bye.